Welcome back to Leslie's Travels, where I teach you how to travel on a budget and how to travel in luxury. Thank you guys so much for joining on this amazing day. Please feel free to subscribe, like the video, comment down below if you have any questions about any of the locations I have been on thus far, or if you want me to do a certain video about one of the locations I have been on, please let me know. All right, guys, we're going to jump right on in. This video is going to be dedicated to my trip to London. My very first trip to London, let's say, because I want to go back. All right, guys, so we're going to jump in and get some, just a little bit of story time. So when I originally was deciding to go to London, I had the option of booking between Gatwick Airport and Heathrow. One of my friends told me I should probably book coming into Heathrow, but I saw it was more expensive. With me saying it's more expensive, I'm like, no, I'm going to trust myself, know what I'm doing. I booked my trip flying into Gatwick, not knowing that I had listened to her. I would have saved myself so much money, crazy amount of money. So just to give you a little idea, Gatwick Airport, they have two airports flying into London. Gatwick is going to be an hour outside of Heathrow. From Heathrow, you also have another 45 minutes or hour to get into London. Me thinking, once again, that I know everything. I ain't got this. I traveled all over the world. She doesn't know. Like, the crap, bruh. Long story short, I booked coming into Gatwick. Dumb idea. I had to pay $100 to get to my hotel, which is by Heathrow. When I did my original research, I noticed that London was 14 miles from my hotel by Heathrow Airport. So I'm thinking it's not going to be that long to get into London, not knowing 14 miles in London is literally can be up to an hour every morning. Screwed. So I paid $100 to get into Heathrow Airport. Then every day that I was there, I had to pay $100 back and forth because it costs $45 to get into London and another $45 or more, depending on when you're leaving out, to get back. So screw myself. I should have just been humble and listened to her. But once again, it's a life lesson. When you travel, you learn so many different lessons about traveling. And once again, it's just a life lesson that if you can learn from other people's mistakes, then it'll make your life a lot smoother. I should have been humble and listened, but I learned my lesson. So now when I go back to London, I will not make that mistake again. So let's get into it. My hotel that I stayed in was by Heathrow Airport. It was called the Ibis. Originally, like I said, with the Ibis Hotel, I stayed there in Amsterdam. I thought that it was going to be about the same thing, but it wasn't. I felt like I was trying to save money because I knew I had another trip coming up in April and in June. So I'm like, let me be a little bit more frugal. Bad idea. I didn't like the hotel, but it was, I will not say that it was a rundown hotel. It was a bunch of business people in there. So it wasn't like horrible hotel. But for me, I thought I wanted something more and I could have got closer to London, but it wasn't like I said, it wasn't my favorite hotel to stay in, but it was inexpensive and it's going to allow me to go on another trip in April with me saving the money with the hotel and things like that. You just have to figure how you want to save money. But for me, the hotel wasn't all that spectacular. I could have done better, but it's a life lesson with traveling. You're going to make some mistakes. You're going to be like, oh, like this hotel, don't like this hotel. Cool life lesson. It wasn't horrible. Like I said, I ended up even doing dinner down there. I went to the bar a couple times. So it wasn't like a horrible hotel, but it was something that I could have done better. So my very first day of being in the amazing city of London, nonetheless, I ended up going to this immersive art museum, which was super, super cool. Imagine being in a room of mirrors up and down, and then this room is like moving art all around, and you're just standing there and you've been taking in this atmosphere and this energy of this amazing artwork. And I just love how artists' brains work to see a blank canvas and they're able to make it into something beautiful. I haven't figured out how to do that yet. Hopefully one day I will, but I love how their brain operates. So I love artwork. And it just so happened that this art museum was also dealing with other locations that I have been to, like Venice and Tulum. How crazy is it that all these, when you begin to travel, that it all begins to come together? And to be blessed to get a chance to see these artists' views in different countries, as well as in the country where they're from. Like the artist that I saw in Tulum was in London. they had an artist that was there exhibiting his artwork, that he was from Tulum, and the art was dealing with Tulum, but I saw his artwork in Tulum, if that all makes sense. But yeah, it was super a blessing just to be exposed to such amazing artwork. For me, I like to get different postcards and frame them and turn them into, I have a wall in my apartment that I call my traveler's wall. And I like, because of course I'm not at the point yet where I can afford to buy some of the big artwork that they have, so I just take postcard and I like to frame them. So when I go to different art exhibits, I get a chance to do that. As well as this immersive art museum had artists from Venice and dealing with different locations there, and it was just really cool to just be involved in it and get a chance to witness how their brain works. I was super blessed. From there, I ended up going to the palace where Diana lived, the Queen Diana lived. I was super amazed just to see how crazy clean just to walk up there to her palace was. And when you get in, you get a chance to see how they dressed back in the day. They also had one of her recent pictures before she passed that was there. So I got a chance to walk around and see it. I absolutely love old artwork and old architecture as well. So for me, being in London was just like mind-blowing to see how some of this old artwork and just the old architecture as a whole. And like I said, for me, I'm super blessed to be able to live my life like this. So it was really cool. I also got a chance to see one of the red telephone booths, which is a major staple point inside of London. So it was super cool. Like I said, I end up throwing London and Iceland in together. So I was only in London for 3 to 4 days, and it was freaking freezing. One of the days I got snowed out, but nonetheless, it was super cool just to be there and be around such amazing energy. I'm definitely going to go back to London. I also did the butterfly exhibit in London as well. It was an outside exhibit. Like I said, it was a bit cold. Because I've lived in different locations, I'm very familiar with how to dress dealing with cold weather. So it wasn't like crazy cold for me. Canada was much worse than their cold, so keep that in mind if you are thinking about going to London, because it definitely is cheaper to go during the wintertime. It wasn't, for me, let me say, it wasn't crazy cold. But yeah, I ended up doing the outside exhibit, which was called a butterfly exhibit. It was a bunch of different colors and just gave you details on butterflies and how they go through the metamorphosis of changing into a completely different animal and their butterflies and how they grow. It was a really cool, like I said, and it was outside. I thought that it was going to be indoors, and it was in Soho. So for me, dealing with Soho, I wanted to come back and go during the daytime. Soho wasn't a place that for me to be there at night, because there was so many tourists and so much going on. For me as a solo female traveler, I don't like to be out at night, but I really wanted to see this exhibit, so I did go at night. But it was definitely worth the experience. The butterflies were amazing. The way they did with art and they did with color, and the way they went from room to room, and like each one of the rotations of the butterflies went like, even though of course there was a walkway in between, it skipped over, but it had kept in line, and there was the rotation, so you would see it like break and then go, but it was all just in line, and you could see the circle if you paid attention to it that it was making. Of course I did. But yeah, it was super cool. And like I said, Soho is the kind of like the red light district of London. Really always fast paced, busing, so much stuff that's going on, great places to eat and shops and mall. So if you are going to London, you check it out. I would say for a solo female traveler to check it out in the daytime. It was a bit much going there at night, but I won't see, if you can tell, I made it back safely, so it wasn't like crazy. But for me, I would rather have it done in the daytime so I can do some shopping there as well. But yeah, I want to say thank you guys so much for joining. You guys are beginning to subscribe more, so I'm forever grateful for you guys joining me on this journey of traveling. I am going to be doing my next video, which is going to be Iceland. When I was in Iceland, I did the Sky Lagoon, which is one of Iceland's new lagoon. It's very different from the Blue Lagoon, but it was super cool. So please feel free to join, subscribe, and comment down below if you got some questions, and stay tuned for my Sky Lagoon review in Iceland. Once again, thank you so much for joining. Please tell a friend, share the video, and you guys have an amazing day and safe travels. Peace.